Back in 1981, I had the American dream, the beautiful wife, the house in the suburbs, and a beautiful 6-year-old son. And one day I went to work, kissed my son goodbye, and never saw him again. In 2 weeks, I became the parent of a murdered child, and I'll always be the parent of a murdered child. I still have the heartache. I still have the rage. I waited years for justice. I know what it's like to be there waiting for some answers. And over those years, I learned how to do one thing really well, and that's how to catch these bastards and bring them back to justice. I've become a manhunter. I'm out there looking for bad guys.
We don't like calling each other brothers and sisters. We just go based on nephews and uncles. We're trying to put everything behind us. We're trying to live away from that situation. The only way you can understand is being part of this family. I was born at El Salvador. When I was about 3 years old, I was brought here with my sister to the States to reunite with her mom after she came here looking for something better for us. My sister Anna, she was about 6 years old at the time. There was really nothing that would say, you know, this person is going to be a monster.
Immigrants come to this country with stars in their eyes. They're looking for a better way of life. But it puts them at risk because they just may grab that first opportunity for stability.
When I was 8 years old, my mom was sick in the hospital. We all slept in one room. I couldn't sleep that night, so I was actually awake. I witnessed Tomas walk in, woke my sister up, and told her to follow him. They did not know that I was watching. I got scared and walked back into the room and waited for my sister to return. I told her, I just saw you guys in the sofa doing it. She said, well, it's something I have to do, because if I don't do what he says, then he's gonna leave my mom. She told me, I want you to promise me that you will never say anything. So I just, went with it and not said anything, because I didn't want anything like that to actually happen.
That threat is used by pedophiles on many, many occasions. Usually they're children of divorce to begin with. So this huge burden of guilt is that we're going to be abandoned, we'll be poor again, or we'll be less fortunate again, but most of all, it'll break mommy's heart. It's disgusting.
Tomas forced her, and he forced himself on her at the age of 9. During those intervening years, Tomas sexually molested her continually.
It was about 1994, and I was about 16 years old. My mom went out to work. So that day she called them, let them know that she was getting off later. But it wasn't true. She was already on the way home. Tomas saw an opportunity. And my mom showed up to the house. When I see my mom come in, and I automatically think, oh, this is it. This is where everybody's gonna, everything's gonna explode. He put her at gunpoint, and he told her, you ever leave me for any other guy, I will kill you. Called her about 5 times, left her a message. Never called back. She was very good at calling back, so she never called me back. We're just sitting in the living room, waiting to see if Anna will call back.
I had seen Anna's purse and shoes, and I was like, oh, where's Anna?
This was about 8 o'clock. They said, if it comes to 9 o'clock, I'm calling the cops. Because it's very weird. So I get a phone call. It was Tomas's brother asking me if I was in the apartment. Are the kids there? I said, yeah, we're all here. And I said, what's going on? He said, once you clear the kids from the apartment, call me. I spoke to him like man to man. What did he do? What did he do to her? And then he started crying.
Tomas's brother had told him that Tomas told him that he had done something stupid and that they would find Anna under some blankets.
We were all there, just waiting for a phone call, not knowing that my sister was, her body was right behind the sofas. I decided to call the police because there was no more point of waiting. They spoke to me and they told me, we found the body. There's that woman up there. And gave me one of her little bracelets with little elephants. And that kind of did it for me because I know that was her.
My dad had killed her, or like, what? Are you serious? Like, is this really happening?
It was just hard to believe, hard to wrap around my head that, you know, she's gone and she's, you know, gone forever, and my dad's probably gonna be, you know, gone forever as well.
Tomas flew out to Guadalajara, Mexico. He took out about $40,000 from my mom's Social Security. So he kind of had everything planned out. I always thought that by me carrying Anna's big secret maybe made me an accomplice of what was going on. What would have happened if we wouldn't have waited so long? Maybe I'd still have my sister.
I don't think I could or anybody could feel the feelings that Hugo had. When he says that he feels that if he'd have spoken up, he might have saved Anna's life, I think that was a course that he couldn't have changed. He couldn't help his beautiful sister, but he could save the rest of the family. Instead of letting them be split up and spread out all over in social services and foster care and make their life a continuing nightmare, he stepped up to the plate and said, this is what Anna would want me to do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to be the patriarch now. I'm gonna save this family, and he did.
The fact is, Tomas is still out there, and Tomas needs to be apprehended.
It's not over until he's caught. None of this is over until he's actually caught.
Tomas Gonzalez has 2 L-shaped scars, one on each elbow. He's a native of Mexico and was...
To bring him in and bring him to justice, having been one of us.
He crossed that line. He gives cops a bad name. He's cunning, he's smart, former cop, and lucky. And someday his luck's gonna run out.
Dan is from the town of Hampton, South Carolina. He grew up there. He was raised there.
It's a lot more rural, country setting.
He has very brilliant blue eyes, very blonde hair, athletic build, but his voice was more of a high pitch and had a very southern drawl to it.
Look, I'm videotaping. Mila, people don't want to see your head. Let me see your face. Mila, look at the camera.
Dan Hires first met Mila in Miami. She was approximately 15 years of age at the time. Dan Hires was 23. Mila is Brazilian. She is from Rio de Janeiro.
Mila thought he was in love, and she started imagining a lot of things, including she asked him if he had courage to come to Brazil. Things were very fast, very strange. Mila liked him very much. And she asked my father to allow her to get married. And after a lot of conversations, my father allowed her. Mila was 16 years old when she married him. She was very happy that day.
The wedding certificate is inaccurate. It's not 1998 when they're married. That was falsified because I don't think he wanted people at his work knowing that he married a minor.
Dan pursued and received the job offer with the Charleston Police Department. They moved to the Charleston area and took up residency in Goose Creek, which is a suburb of Charleston.
Mila, her relationship with Dan, from almost the beginning, had been difficult. Mila was saying how Dan did not show her attention or affection. It was very difficult for her having her family so far away, being in Brazil, and her being alone.
We used to talk a lot. And once she told me she was having some problems concerning her sexual life because Dan seemed to lose interest in her.
Dan was very much into martial arts, and he would frequent a dojo in a part of Charleston. When his session would be over and he would be leaving, another session would be starting where it was a much younger class.
With the child's mother, and offered to be some sort of role model because the girl's biological father was not in her life at the time.
He offered to start taking me to karate classes, actually. Anything that was really going on around town, we would be a part of, like going to the fair, bike rides, going fishing. Showed me how to shoot a gun.
Mila did question Dan's affection to this young girl and was reassured multiple times that it was just a friendship, that he was trying to be a role model and a father figure.
He never said anything about him having a wife or even a girlfriend or anything. It was like he was just living just by himself, just him.
The juvenile and mother actually came to Dan and Mila's residence in Goose Creek, where Dan cooked dinner for the two. He also had pictures of the little girl hanging up in the home and had taken down pictures of he and his wife, Mila.
He only let us know what he wanted us to know about him. He was living a double life.
When Dan first came into contact with the girl, she was 9 years old.
After 4 or 5 months of knowing him, and then it started happening. Sometimes it would just be an empty parking lot. We would park, tell me to take my clothes off, and touch me. Touch my chest area, my crotch area. I was, what's going on? What are you doing? Like, and he wouldn't even say anything. One time, we actually got a hotel room. I would hide on the floorboard of his truck so the surveillance cameras wouldn't see a child in the car. He would make sure that it would be the hotel with the doors on the outside. I had an idea. I already knew what was going to happen. But it was starting to get harder, so I just came out and told.
On November 23rd, 2004, I was contacted by Lieutenant Soderberg and requested to go with him to try to intervene at Dan Hires' residence. He was going to be arrested for charges of lewd act on a minor.
Dan ultimately turned himself in. I believe that had some bearing or impact on whether or not he was provided a bond, which he was granted.
During this time frame, he did lose his job at the City of Charleston Police Department.
Mila thought it was a big mistake, a big mess. She didn't believe. I think she was protecting her heart of that situation because it was very difficult to her to face what was going on.
One of the saddest elements of this case is the phenomenal, loving quality of Mila, that she wanted to be such a good wife to Dan Hires. She felt guilty that somehow she wasn't meeting his needs. She had no idea what his needs were. His needs were to rape little girls.
In March 2005, Mila called me from Moran Beach. She called me to say she was there for her second honeymoon. And she was very, very happy because Dan was very romantic that day.
So crazy. What? Hating yourself.
And she told me she wished he was like that every day.
It is possible that Dan wanted to spend one last weekend with Mila before executing the plan that he may have premeditated.
Creek City 911, what is your emergency?
We got a big problem, big crisis here. This is going to be a homicide here.
Caught and pay for what he did.
I want him caught because he killed his wife. And because of what, he did to me, but more for what he did to Mila. Oh, yeah, I want him caught.
Dan Hires is an ex-policeman trained in martial arts and known to maintain a high level of physical fitness. He enjoys basketball, he plays the piano. He speaks in a distinctive, high-pitched Southern drawl. If you've seen Dan Hires or know anything about his whereabouts, remember, he may be armed and dangerous. So please make that call, 1-866-THE-HUNT, or go to our website at cnn.com/thehunt. You can remain anonymous. We'll pass your tip